6.5 hours later.
Alright guys, so how's she going today? Me? Freezing my freaking ass off. I'm froze. I'm just went in the house, warmed up. Now I'm here making this video. Ooh, there's a lot of snow here. I've been meaning to clean this up, but I haven't been back here. They had another snowstorm back on the 4th, and that lasted for about 3 days. Mostly just a lot of wind, but you know, a lot of it was just, it snowed a little bit, but it was mostly wind. And I've been going out pretty much every day to I'm just mostly was cleaning up drifts. I didn't really get a lot of snow. The driveway never really got buried, so, but it is what it is. So, of course, the lights, they're very dim because it's extremely cold out. We hit a cold spell, and I mean a cold spell. We've been minus 40s on and off for the last 2 weeks, and then when it wasn't minus 40 out, it was at least minus 30 or even minus 20, so it was freaking cold. Again, so kind of didn't really do much, but I went and took up on the cows every other day because of the cold spell. I just didn't want to be out any more than I had to, and we think that we have another cow that's possibly not pregnant. You know, she's open. So yeah. So we're kind of questioning kind of what's going on here. Because my cow's not, she's open, you know, mine, and then one of my uncle's cows is open. So we don't really know yet if all the other ones are even, you know, pregnant or not, and we don't bother, you know, checking them with, you know, sticking your hand up their ass or sticking a camera up their ass or whatever you do, you know. We don't do that. We just let Mother Nature, we just let the cows do their thing, and if they puke out a calf, then they have one, but if they don't, well, then we get pissed off. But so anyways, yeah, so we think we have at least 2 cows that are open. So we don't know really what's going on. I don't really want to, it could be that it could be the bull. I don't know how active the bull was. I'm pretty sure that the young guy has them tested. Because this bull, I can't remember if he rented that bull or if that's actually his bull that he bought. I can't remember, but I don't know if he has them tested, because apparently you're supposed to have your bulls tested to make sure that they can produce, you know, the goods in order to get your cows pregnant. So, and if you don't test them, well, then you probably could be getting a freaking dud. So, I don't know. Maybe this bull's just slightly weak. I don't know. But, again, we don't know. It just could be the cows, too. So, we really can't blame the bull yet until we've seen that all the cows are not pregnant. And so far, it was just those 2 that were showing signs of being opened. So, so far there, I don't know. But, yeah, I guess we'll just keep an eye on it over the next, you know, few months. And, yeah. So, yeah. But anyways, yeah, so anyways, of course, it's cold out today, but my uncle decided he wanted to throw a bale out for the cows. He thinks that there would have been enough there for maybe another day or 2, but I don't know. They're talking kind of another little cold snap coming through. Just it's going to be for a day or 2, but it was a little crappy today. But he wanted to put a bale out anyway. So, well, you know, before you put a fresh bale out, you gotta you got to get rid of the old stuff. You got to clean up the yard or wherever you have your cows eating at. You got to kind of clean it up a little bit. So he was doing that with the tractor, the 400, and halfway through it, or well, about 90% through it, the damn thing died on him. And he couldn't figure out what the frick was going on. He says that it would turn over, but since it's 6 volt, they turn slower than snot. It's just, they're slow. I hate 6 volt systems. I can't stand them. They're too slow. But the 400 is a 6 volt system, and unfortunately the grain truck is a 6 volt system too. But he tried to restart it, and it wouldn't fire. Now, he doesn't know for sure, and he says it's too freaking bloody cold to even be working on it. This is why I wish we had a heated shop, or at least a shop, like this, but bigger. But it's hard for us to work on equipment when we need to, because if you work on it too long, well, then your fingers freeze. And these gloves suck ass. I got another pair just like them, but I don't know. I want to get some of those really expensive heated gloves. They have like little heaters in them, but they're like $200-$300. But they're nice to have when you're spending a lot of time outside. So, anyways, we were going to. Well, he wanted to pull the tractor back at least into the yard, so if he ever did get a good day to work on it, he would be in the yard, not out in the pasture, and get some protection from the trees and the buildings and whatever else. So my uncle phones and he's like, well, can we fire up to 1586 and use that to get the tractor pulled out and get a bale pulled in, at least get that done and over with. And I was like, yeah, we can try it. So we plugged it in for about it should have been plugged in longer, but we did it for about 2.5 hours. And on the second crank, it started up fine. It needed a little bit of ether, but I don't really like using ether because I think it's hard on engines. Actually, it is hard on engines, but as long as you don't get carried away with it. But anyways, so we fired up the tractor. Of course, the thing was just complaining as ever, but I don't blame it because it's cold. And the hydraulics were stiff. Mind you, I haven't started that tractor probably in about 2 months. It's been a while because I used to start it monthly, but now I'm just kind of down to every couple of months or so because we know it's going to start. But, so yeah, we plugged it in for about 2.5 hours, gave it a couple shots of ether, and then on the second crank there, it fired up. But, unfortunately, the hydraulics were stiff. And that's why I wanted to get that hose finished for the back. And that's why I made that little video about the ends, because I forget which ones I'm supposed to get. Apparently, either ones will be fine. I know AJ was saying something that they're probably, the ends have been upgraded, but I don't think so, because I remember back when we hooked it up for the first time, the chisel plow, he didn't know for sure, so he just grabbed, again, a bunch of ends, and then he found out that it was the international ends that fit. So I'm pretty sure it's still the international ends, or the plugs anyway, on the back. But I found out that the third one likes to piss pretty bad. I think it's the third valve, or the third plugs that leak like a sieve. So if I decide to start rebuilding them, I think I'm going to rebuild that third one first, because that's the one that leaks the most. And that's the one that will be upgraded to the newer Pioneer style. The newer ones, instead of international ends. But, anyways, getting off topic here. But anyways, so we let the tractor run for about half an hour. Let it percolate, do its thing. And it was running fine. It was running perfectly fine. The hydraulics were slow, obviously, but, you work the steering wheel and raise the 3-point hitch up and down a little bit. You eventually get things to move. And then stomping on the brakes and then the clutch and everything, so that gets all the oil moving. But anyways, so after we got everything running, I got the tractor running, okay, I decided, okay, let's go out into the pasture, let's hook up to the 400, and let's see if we can drag the bitch back to the yard. And wouldn't you freaking believe it, that about when we're just about to pull the 400, my tractor dies. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, I was thinking that area where we were stacking all the manure, I was thinking that area was cursed. I was like, his tractor dies, and now my tractor dies. So I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. I'm sitting here cranking on it, giving it ether, and wouldn't fire. So I'm glad I wasn't videotaping this, because I was saying a lot of bad words that you guys would not like, and YouTube would definitely not love that. They're all, I mean, yeah, you're hearing me say the F word and all that stuff, but I was saying other words that, you know, normal people shouldn't be hearing. So, because I was irate, because I've never had an issue with my tractor ever dying on me, unless I'm the one that actually shuts it off. But, so, yeah. So I'm sitting in the cab, you know, I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do? I got to try to come up with a plan. So I was like, well, it's cranking, so we know that the starter's fine. It's cranking over really fast, like it should. I wasn't getting any type of warning lights. Of course, I don't think half of them even work to begin with. That's another thing I got to look at too. And so I'm sitting here thinking on what the hell to do. I mean, I spent at least a good 10 minutes trying to figure out what the hell to even do. And my uncle's just standing there, you know, he's looking like a statue. He's like, well, what are you doing, you know? But he didn't realize that I was trying to come up with an idea on what to do, trying to figure out what the frick to do. So I was like, okay, I'm cranking on it. It's not really an electrical problem. Starter's engaging fine. It's got to be a fuel issue. So I was like, well, you know what? I went back to the house, to my house, and I went and got my heat gun. And on the high setting, apparently that thing will get up to 1100 degrees, but I doubt that. But of course, when it's blowing 50 miles an hour, it's going to blow all your heat away. So what I ended up doing is I ended up heating up the fuel pump and the fuel line and the fuel filters. And, you know, I spent probably a good 5 minutes doing that. And I was like, okay, I spent about, you know, a lifetime doing this. Let's see if it'll crank back up. Sure enough, it fired back. It came back to life. So, of course, since it was sitting there for so long, and of course it was so cold out that my tractor was instantly frozen again. So the engine was cold. It was blowing out a lot of white smoke, which is a sign of a cold engine. The hydraulics were back to being froze again. I had like literally no power steering at all. I was, you know, pretty sure I was going to break the steering wheel a couple of times, but that's because I don't have hydraulic. My hydraulics ain't heated up. So, okay, it runs. Okay, it ran. So we started pulling on the 400. So we got the 400 into the barnyard. My tractor dies again. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Like, what the hell's going on with this thing? I know it's not, we thought maybe it was an electrical issue. We thought maybe, you know, it wasn't, the cables for the batteries weren't connected right. But my uncle checked them, and he says they were clean and they were fine. They were tight like they should be. So, because I leave mine loose all the time. I don't really ever tighten them down because I take the batteries out in the wintertime. So I have them just snug enough to where you can slip them on. And it seems like if you turn them a certain way, then they get really tight and then they stay. So, and I don't really bother cranking the bolt down on them. But anyway, so yeah, it died again. I went back to heating up pretty much the fuel system again, the fuel tank, or not the fuel tank, but the fuel pump and the hose, or the fuel line and the filters. I did all that again. And mind you, this was kind of towards the evening there, so it was super cold and super freaking windy. And so yeah, so another 10 minutes of doing that. It fired right back up again. So, and we had to do that multiple times just to even get the 400 out of the way, because the 400 was in the way. And then we had to come up with some kind of a freaking redneck plan on how we're going to push the 400 back into its little parking lot, because I don't have a loader on mine, so I really can't push anything really good. So we ended up grabbing this fucking huge, I think it must have been like a 6x6 or something. I don't know, that thing was huge. And we stuck it, I'm not sure where he stuck it on my tractor, but I guess it was between the hitch and the back ass of the tractor. And then he stuck the other end of that board in his hitch. And it worked, but I mean, it fell off quite a few times, especially when you were trying to steer it. But just to even get his 400 back into the parking lot, it took a while, and my tractor died about 3 times in the process of doing that. And I noticed that it would only run, well, earlier it ran for about a minute or two. But it was way colder, and it was way windier. Now the wind has kind of calmed down a little bit, so I think it warmed up slightly enough where the tractor could run a little bit longer. I think it ran for about 3 minutes, and then it died. So it was a fight, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Finally, we got to put a bail out. We were just giving her. I tried to go in high, but tractor wasn't having it. It's like, no, I can't do high. I'm too stiff. So I went back into low, but I was just trying to give her the onions because we needed to get that bale out there as quick as possible because the cows are freaking complaining because we, threw all their old food away and gave them some new stuff. But so we were in a hurry because I wanted to try to get the bale in the barnyard and get the tractor back to its parking lot before it, died on me. And well, it ran a little bit longer that time, surprisingly. It ran for about 3 minutes. Perfectly fine. And then we parked it, and then I decided just to leave it running because I wanted to see how long it would take before it started acting funny again. So my uncle decided he was going to, pick up all the wiring, all the extension cords and stuff, and this and that. And then what do you know, my tractor started running rough. But it ran rough for about another good, maybe 2 minutes. It ran rough, but I'm kind of thinking maybe, I don't know, maybe you guys can, AJ would probably know, the young guy would know, but I'm not going to bother him because there's things going on in their life right now that I'm not going to disturb them over this, so, I'm just going to leave him be, but, so, I'm thinking maybe I got water in my diesel fuel, and I'm thinking it's in the fuel filters. Now, mind you, I've never changed those fuel filters, and I know you're supposed to do that at least once a year. I think you're supposed to change them. I think you're really supposed to change them. You're probably supposed to change them more often in the wintertime because you get so much water and stuff in them. But that's why they always say to keep your fuel tanks full, so that way you don't get so much moisture built up in the tanks and then doesn't go throughout your fuel system. But I don't know, I guess I'm pretty sure my diesel tanks are full, but I mean, it ran fine all summer long, so you know that it's got to be a buildup of moisture from over the winter. Because you got to remember that earlier on in the winter, it was fairly warm out. Like, we didn't have any snow, it wasn't really that cold, it wasn't hot, but it was warm enough that, you didn't need overhauls. So, but yeah, I mean, you guys can tell me what you think, but I kind of think maybe I got water in my fuel filters at least, and I don't know what you can do besides to change the fuel filters. I'm thinking that's the problem, so I might end up having to pick up some fuel filters and change them out. Didn't really want to do that. I was going to do it this summer, but considering the fact that my tractor's running like shit, and unfortunately we probably are going to need it for the rest of the winter because I don't know when he'll ever decide to work on the 400 because it's too cold out, and I don't feel like changing fuel filters, but that won't take very long. But another thing, and I don't know if AJ, if you could make a video on this sometime, or well, it'd have to be in the next couple of weeks because I'm going to be going. I imagine it'll be at the end of the month before I can get fuel filters. So, but we'll have to just keep doing because what we're doing to keep the 1586 running, I guess. But we won't have to deal with it now for a little while. But on those fuel pumps, because I know that when you take the fuel filters off, you automatically just drain the fuel out of the pump. That's kind of just normal. I think that it's on the very back half of the pump. There's a little, supposed to be, I think, a primer thing. If you push it up, I think you're supposed to push it up and down. I don't know for sure, but But I think that's the primer bulb kind of thing, but it's a metal thing, obviously. But it's on the back of the fuel pump. It's, it stands straight up, and it's got like a little wing nut on the top. You loosen that, and you flip the little thing down, and then you got your little primer thing there. But don't you push them things down to prime? Because I can't push mine down. We tried that because we thought maybe it ran out of fuel, because it's just stupid, I guess. I don't know, but I tried to push it down, and it wouldn't do a damn thing. It was like it was stuck, but yet you could turn it left and right. You could turn it, Is that how you prime them? You just turn the bolt like a million times? I don't know. I thought it was you push that little bolt down. That little primer bolt. I thought you just pushed it down and then it comes back up on its own, and that's how you prime the system. But I guess AJ will have to let me know, because I know he's the only one that knows a lot about these 86 series tractors, or International in general. Like I said, the young guy knows stuff too, but I'm not going to bother him because, like I said, they had things going on in their family, and I just find it to be disrespectful to call them and be like, hey, I got a problem with my tractor, can you figure it out? It's like, I'm not going to bother them right now. And we're going to have to, probably the next couple of months or so anyway, to get more hay, but by then maybe things will be kind of back to normal. But right now, we're not going to bother anybody. So, but yeah, if you could let me know about that primer thing. I thought you were supposed to just push it down, and that's how you prime the system, your fuel pump and everything, but I don't know. Unless it just primes itself. I mean, is it possible for them to prime themselves? I don't know. And then, yeah, let me know what you think about it running for, a minute or two and then shutting off. That, to me, sounds like there might be water in the fuel. But, because I don't know how it could be, I don't think the diesel fuel can be gelled up, because I put stuff in it to stop it from gelling. And last year it was even colder, and I had no issues with it running in the cold. You just had to plug it in for quite a few hours, and then it fired right up, and you could put it to work after 20 minutes of warming up. So, but this time, I don't know. It doesn't want to run. So it runs for 3 minutes, and then it quits. It starts to run rough, and then, and then it shuts off. So I'm thinking it's got to be a fuel system, because like I said, it starts up, it starts, it turns over fine. It just won't run long enough, unless you put the heater on it, and then it'll run for a couple of minutes straight, but then it'll start running rough, and then it'll die on you. So yeah, if anybody knows there, to me personally, I think I got water in the fuel. I think I might have to change out those fuel filters earlier than I wanted to. Like I said, I've never changed them since I bought the tractor. They were changed when I bought the tractor, but that's when it was at the dealer or at the repair shop because of the rim. I told them to go ahead and give it an overhaul. Basically new oil filters, fuel filters, air filters, definitely an air filter, and hydraulic oil filter. All the filters were changed on that, but that was like 6 years ago. So, and I've never touched a damn thing on that since. That's why this summer I want to go all out and give that tractor, new oil, new filters, fuel filters, oil filters, coolant filter. That was replaced too 6 years ago. I got a new one sitting in the house. I got to put it in. I'm going to change that as well. I'm just going to, basically give it a makeover. So, but yeah, let me know what you guys think. If you think it was if you think that I got water in the fuel or not, but I don't know really sure how you could correct that problem besides just changing out the fuel filters all the time. But I can't change them every month because that's going to get expensive. I don't know, but yeah, we might have to put some cardboard on the side of the motor or something to keep it a little bit warmer. I don't know, but it's been pretty nasty here lately, so I don't know. But anyways, guys, yeah, so I'm going to take off because my hands are starting to freeze. I guess just leave your input on that. What you think it could be. I think it's water in the fuel. I don't see how it can be fuel gelling up because it shouldn't, because I have stuff in it to stop that from gelling. Like I said, it runs when you heat the pump up and everything, but then it shuts off after a couple minutes. And then you have to reheat everything again, but And like I said, it starts fine. Like the starter works and everything runs, but so it's not an electrical issue. I think it's a fuel issue, and I think I probably got water in the filters. Which you would think that if you have water in the filters would crack, but I don't know. But I don't know if that's the problem. What I'm thinking it probably is, I'm going to have to buy some fuel filters. Yes, they're going to be Fleet Guard, because I'll just go to that dealer over there and they'll have them. So, but yeah, anyways, guys, I'm going to take off. So I guess have a good day and stuff. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Take her easy.